Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Lou Balestrieri, formerly known as Louie B. Did you know John Jr.?
No.
Who were some of the names of people that you were around, if you remember them?
I really don't want to mention those names. They were Gambino people, predominantly.
Who were you hearing about when you were out around the street? Who were the big names that you guys were hearing about? Was it Gas Pipe Casso?
No. We weren't that big. We were just a little clique of guys,
No, I'm not saying maybe you weren't involved with them, but were you hearing about them?
I didn't know. I only know the people that I knew. One of the guys that I went to high school with today is he's a capo. Okay, he's strong. Then other people that I grew up with in Brooklyn, you just rub shoulders with these people. One of the guys that was a friend of my boss's, one of the bosses did he ran all the nightclubs on Long Island. And we had gold cards to get into all these clubs that this guy owned. And when we went to the nightclubs, I don't know if you saw Henry Hill when he went to Copacabana, this place and that place. We had these cards. We get in, no problem. It was beautiful, like who we were. So, I'd pull up to this specific club. You'd park the car, and there's a line around the block to try to get in. I'd take one of the girls off the line. Come on in. Go to the door. Hello, Tony. The guy, give Tony a little, you give him an Andrew Jackson. He sticks in his pocket. Hey, everybody, I don't wait online. We go right in. And it was fantastic. We had a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was just a different time back then, right?
Oh, yeah. One of the worst things I did, this is when I was living in Brooklyn. And now, mind you, I'm 13 years old. I'm sitting in my backyard. I see a truck flying by. The truck is moving, and I hear a police car. It's got the lights and sirens. They're chasing this truck. It's obvious. This truck tries to make a turn, and he hits a curb because there's weeds in front of the curb. He's trying to get into this parking lot. He doesn't know that the curb is like 2.5 feet high. And they crash. And the cops stop behind him. The two guys jump out of the truck. They're running. I'm watching the whole thing. The cops are chasing him now. Now, from the impact, the rear doors of the truck open. So everybody's running. What do? I go look in the back of the truck. In the back of the truck was, at the time, this was very, very prominent, ladies' pantsuits. That was like the big trend. This is 1971, 72. What did I do with the pantsuits? Unloaded that truck right in the back of my father's garage. Closed the door. Didn't say nothing. When things cooled off, the following week, I was a pantsuit salesman. Prices on them. It was the same pantsuit in like 4 or 5 different colors, all different sizes. I had all the old ladies coming in. I was selling pantsuits. They were 40.
Anything you could get into, right?
Whatever, it was opportunity. We did the same thing with a truck that turned over that had sod in it. My father got stuck in traffic, and he says, "Yeah, it took me 20 minutes to go 2 blocks." What happened? It was an accident. What kind of accident? A sod truck turned over. Bingo! Lights went on in my head. I ran across the street and got this guy who had a dump truck. We used to call him Frank the Guinea. He was from Sicily. And we went over and loaded up his truck. He says, "You son of a bitch, you're going to get me arrested." That's Frankie, don't worry about it. And then we sold sod.
The stuff that goes on people's front lawns, right?
Yeah, we stole, and people. What was it? It was a score. Whatever we could do, we would do. And we didn't get up in the morning and say, I'm gonna go, knock off a candy store with a gun. Nothing like that. Never beat up people like that. Never robbed anybody. I refuse. I steal from Macy's and Gimbel's. I never stole from another guy, hardworking guy that was, working. Car accidents or whatever. The cops left the car there. Tow truck didn't come to pick it up. In an hour, the tires were gone. The radio was gone. The battery was gone. And,
Do you have any brushes with the law?
No, never been arrested. Never got I think I got 1 ticket for driving a motorcycle without a license. That's it.
Damn.
I was pretty well schooled. I was a cop before I was a cop because I'm from a family of 14 cops. My father was a cop. And, the other half of the family were shakers and movers. They were people, And so I learned from both sides on how to operate. And, that's the way I was. I got a very, very good lesson from these people by keeping my mouth shut and keeping my eyes and ears open. And I took that to other places. I worked for insurance companies, and I found weaknesses. When I found a weakness, I capitalized on it. And I did that within the police department as well. And I had a very good career that way.
When did you figure out you wanted to be a cop?
1981, I got engaged. I decided I want to get married. And I had to stop playing these games because if I wanted to raise a family, the street mentality had to go, and their pension plan wasn't too good, and their major medical policy wasn't working either. So I'm married a New York City detective's daughter, and I decide I'm going to do the right thing. So I go to work for an insurance company. I start working for this insurance company. I start doing the same kind of stuff. I find a weakness and I start fooling around I'm not stealing, but if you had to get an insurance policy and you couldn't get it because you may have had a problem, I'd send the right doctor to you. Okay, you took your blood pressure. In your left arm, it was 17,000 over 400. But when I sent my doctor, and it was 110 over 70. And what happened was he got an envelope. The policy got issued, and that person had to last 2 years. Yeah, you're not going to do this with anybody who's got cancer. It's just somebody who's, they have to last 2 years because there's an incontestable clause in there that the policy after 2 years is incontestable. So the guy lasted 2 years. I was home free. I'm rolling the dice a little bit. There's always a little bit of risk. But yeah. I got a 55% commission. And with these older people, these commissions are in the thousands. So, we had a doctor that hey, you corrupt? Can I talk to you? That was my magic line. What are you talking about? And, we hooked up with the right doctor. And that's the way things were.
Yeah, someone that can't get insurance or
exactly.
Can't get a policy, you help them out, you get them.
Insurance companies are the biggest hoarders out there. Insurance is a great thing to have, just don't use it, okay? Because they do anything they can to deny your claim. Especially, I was doing pension plans, health plans. I wasn't doing property and casualty, which is car insurance, homeowners insurance. Another thing I would do is you don't make money in the insurance business sitting across the table talking to mom and pop trying to sell them a $10,000 policy, okay, for $35 a month. There's no money in that. You got to get into the daytime business marketplace. So what I did was I had a list of these big companies, and I'd reach out to the benefits manager, and I come in with a proposal for a group major medical plan where there's a lot of money, $15,000 a month. I'm not going to get the 55% commission, but I'm still going to make money. So what I would do is, you the benefits manager, Bill, come on, I take you to lunch. After lunch, I take you to a whorehouse. This way I get some of the starch taken out of your shirt. You know what I mean? We work with some of the wrinkles. And that was pretty successful with that.
Give them a little incentive, right?
A little incentive, you know what I mean? I wanted to be that right guy. So, I took the bad ways back into this industry.
How do you go from selling insurance to being a cop?
What I did was
You could check that if you want.
Nah, the hell with it. As a matter of fact, it's my insurance guy. How funny is that? I had taken Department of Sanitation, corrections, state troopers. I took all these tests. And I said, the first one that calls me, I'm going to go. Who calls me? Corrections. I decided against that real quick because I'm going to be doing 20 years with these guys. And I knew if I'm in jail, when they want me, I'm theirs, as you might know. NYPD, I went through all of this, all of that. I went through the background check, and I thank God the investigator that I have was, I won't say he was corrupt, but I did some of his job for him. Okay, I took his paperwork and I ran it to all my neighbors and let them sign it, for my character references. But what he could do is he was able to sign off duty in the field, but I was doing the work for him. He was a good guy, you know what I mean? But once again, I was able to talk to him, and I, figure, oh yeah, I lived there. Oh yeah, hey, listen, if you want, maybe I could help you out. You could sign off over here. I'll get the stuff here and I'll bring it to you. What a moron. He let me do it.
So what's it like when you got to go through a test first, right?
Right. You take the test, and from there you have to take a physical. You got to run, jump over walls. It was no big deal. Then they give you a psychological, and I was schooled on how to take the psychological. They don't care. They're looking for decision making, and they're looking for continuity in the way you think. Now, it was like 1,000 questions. You were there for hours, and they would ask you, question 13, do you like flowers? And if you put no, the answer was no. And then answer 27, they'd ask you, if you were an artist, would you like to paint flowers? That's basically the same question. They don't care if you did like flowers or you didn't like flowers. They're just looking for the fact that you liked them or you didn't like them. So if you said you didn't like flowers on question 13, on question 27, you better not like flowers, because somehow or another they figured out that, the job wasn't for you. I went through the whole shit, no problem.
Did you see a lot of other people fail the test?
That I don't know. I went through a class of like 2,200. Yeah, it was a big class.
So what's it like when you finally get your badge?